Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the M44, the Tier 6 American SPG. This one's located on the attack team on Steppes Assault, and it's under the command of Red Dog Alpha 1. Now he's got two marks of excellence on the barrel of his howitzer, and he's going to help his team get into the enemy cap area and take the game. 155mm howitzer. Now it's only capable of 500 alpha. It used to be 550 until they nerfed it. In fact, they nerfed it to death, and well, now its accuracy isn't as good as it used to be in the past. It's based on the Walker Bulldog hull, the M41 hull, with the 155mm howitzer mounted on a base which actually can swivel either way, and it's got an arc of 30 degrees either side of the centerline. Now Red Dog Alpha 1 hasn't started aiming yet because, well, there's only one enemy tank in sight. He's just come to sight. It's an AMX 12 ton on the cliff tops overlooking the approach in the south. Okay, well, very difficult to get a shot in there, but he's fully dialed in. Unfortunately, he's hiding, and so instead we're going to go for this AMX AC-46. Okay, he's fully dialed in, rounds out, and yeah, landed short. That's the problem with the M44 now. Its accuracy has been nerfed to hell, which makes it completely useless. But there are other Artys in the game which are much better. So waiting for the reload to go through. 22.4 seconds, and he hits the front of the AMX AC-46. And he gets 136 hit points of damage. Standard reload is 25.89 seconds. Okay, that IS is getting absolutely hammered. Rounds out. Well, he's lost another 121 hit points, and now he's a one-shot. And I think anybody will get him. Yep. That's not the way that a heavy tank's supposed to be played. Meanwhile, these guys over here, they seem to know what they're doing, because they've actually managed to make it as far as the railway line, and they're stopping our Black Prince from pushing over. Of course, he's going to be facing 3 barrels instead of 1. He does. But that's a lovely hit there, and that's a penetrating shot on the Leo. And as a result, now the Leo is a one-shot. He's gone down. The 88's trying to come up on to the railway line, and he's going to take some serious fire now. He's crossed over, but he's face-hugging our Black Prince, and that means he is going to take fire from everyone, including, I should think, Red Dog Alpha 1. He's not opened fire yet. Rounds out. Well, that did damage the 88, stunned his teammate. In fact, it looks like Arty from both teams are firing in that direction. There is another Arty on our team. It's an SU-8. On the enemy team, they've got an AMX-13 F3 and another M44. That AM-88's going to go down to the next hit, and he does. And our shell goes long, but a Jagdpanzer IV turns up out of nowhere, and he's now started attacking the Black Prince. But he doesn't last very long either, and with 3 tanks up on the enemy already. And the game's only been going for about 3.5 minutes. Okay, the AT-12's come out from behind his rock, and now he's vulnerable. Just dialing in, let it settle. Rounds out, looks good. Goes long, but it stuns him all the same. Again, it was perfectly positioned and aimed, but the shell didn't go where it was expected to. Now, rather unusually, Red Dog Alpha 1's decided, instead of actually getting close to the enemy, he's actually driving around the map, and looks like he's actually headed towards the north end of the map to support his teammates over the other side. I say unusually because I would have expected him to actually get closer on the east side of the map and go further south. Okay, I can see what he wants to do. He's looking there at the Striv 74, which happens to be in the gully running down the center of the map. Rounds out. It goes to the left and long, so he explodes in the gully without doing any harm whatsoever. Now, I think we can see where the enemy Arty are now, because that shell, we saw 2 shells appear from the enemy Arty over by their cap area, somewhere in the region of K4. Well, that shell exploded in the bush, but it appears the strip is no longer there. Well, we can see this Wizzy 132, who's rather close to our SU-100. Now, if we can put a shell into him, we might be able to slow him down long enough for the SU-100 to finish him off. Unfortunately, the SU-100 dies, so what can we do? He's pushing forward. We do need to ideally slow this guy down. Rounds out, looks good. It is a hit. 241 hit points, and the Wizzy 132 is down. Okay, going back to that Steppes 74, who could be coming up the center of the map at the moment. We don't know, because we haven't got anybody there to spot what he's up to. And that could be dangerous for us over here. He's firing into the bush, using the overhead method to see exactly where the shell might be landing. I get the feeling he ought to really consider changing position altogether. That VK, again, is not being driven like a heavy tank should. Doesn't seem to know what he's doing. And he exposes himself to fire from a Hellcat, who wipes him out. Now, the enemy Arty, I think, is behind this rock here. Or at least one of them might be. We can see that AMX AC-46, the one we hit earlier in the game. And that's a direct hit on the side of his casement. He's gone down. There's the M44. So 1 round required, but we're still a long way from being loaded. The strip suddenly appears out of nowhere, and he's missing a huge amount of hit points. So our shells might have actually hit him in the past. Rounds out. It goes long. Did you see that? It zipped right over the top of his turret. It was aimed directly at the side of his hull, and it went zipping straight over the top of him. And the kill shot goes to the SU-8 on our team, which is far more accurate now that they've nerfed the M44. Going for the AMX 12-ton again. He's just killed our E8. Rounds out. Oh, that's a splash kill. 45 hit points, and the AMX 12 tons out the way. That's the first kill for Red Dog Alpha 1. Now, we're looking for that other enemy RT, the AMX 13 F3, because their M44 has been wiped out. There's only 2 enemies remaining. That's one of them, the Hellcat, the other one being the AMX. Our team are near their cap area. In fact, they are now capping, and they've just capped out. And that's the end of the game. Here's the end of battle results. That was an ace tanker game for Red Dog Alpha 1 in the M44. Not the first ace he's had them before, but he did do rather well to get an ace tanker out of this one. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9. He also got a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. In fact, he only got 1 kill in the entire game. It was the AMX 12-ton, and he got him to a splash kill. The shell landed next door to him. He should have got that Steppes 74, but the shell decided, no, I'm not going to hit that target. I'm going to hit the gully instead for the second time, and he didn't get that one. His win rate from that battle, 2,334, which is very good indeed, but not Unicum standard. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in this game. No, that actually went to the Wizzy 132, the tanker that he damaged in that game. That guy got 1,850 hit points of damage. Second highest damage went to the M44 SU-8 with 1,811. And the third highest damage went to our ARL V39, 1,639. There was no high caliber in this game because none of the players managed to get over 20% of the enemy hit pool. We can see Red Dog Alpha 1 did 1,281 hit points, and that's pretty good considering that's the highest damage done by any RT in this game, because the SU-8 on his own team only did 790. The M44 on the enemy team did 392, and their AMX 13 F3 only 694. So yes, he was the best performing RT in that game, and of course he got the only medal in the game with the Confederate. When it came to kills, it was the Stewie Mill who did the best, alongside the Hellcat on his team and the Wizzy 132 on the enemy team. Second place, we've got the ARL V39 with 2 kills and the VK3001P, who didn't appear to see or know what he was actually doing, but I think he did manage to get 2 kills out of the game, so maybe they were just targets of opportunity. We saw that Red Dog Alpha 1 only got the 1 kill, but it was that AMX 12 ton. He had been a bit of a nuisance because he was playing quite well. He was hiding behind the rocks to actually make it difficult for us to hit him, but we finally did manage to land a shell near him to actually take him out the game. When it came to base XP, it was second place for Red Dog Alpha 1 because the top spot went to the ARL V39. He got 1,196 out of that game. The only player to get over 1,000, with Red Dog Alpha 1 getting 913. And in third place, we've got the T52 getting 796. He fired 15 rounds in the game, got 4 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetrating shot. Yes, I think we did see that one as well. The amount of damage he did was quite considerable with 1 round. It was the Leo. There we go. 555 hit points, 1 shot. Made the Leo a 1-shot kill. And in fact, he did die the next moment because somebody saw that he was down to his very low hit points and took him out the game. He also got 11 splashes. Damage of 1,281 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damage 7 of the enemy, kill 1. There's the Confederate. And 1,271 hit points as stun assist off 10 stuns. So he did very well with stun assist. And that helped him to get the ace tanker. 41,199 credits on a premium count for the battle. And after ammunition resupply, took away 33,624 credits profit. 1,369 experience points for the battle. And times 2 for the first victory, 2,739 experience points altogether. So a decent first battle for Red Dog Alpha 1. He did send in another battle, and it is the Arty that we think has now come to replace the M44 as the best Arty at tier 6 in the game. Let's watch it. In the second replay, Red Dog Alpha 1 is now in the SU-8, the tier 6 Soviet SPG, and he's on the north, he's on the south spawn of Serene Coast. Okay, he's armed with a 152mm howitzer, capable of doing 550 alpha and penetrating 38mm of armor and a burst radius of just under 7 meters. Now his fire rate is, 1 shot every 17.3 seconds. The book reload is 19.45, or is it 43? Yeah, maybe 19.65 actually. Okay, it's looking downrange for a target. Now this Arty is producing similar results to the M44 when it was at its best. The M44 could fire once every 15 and a bit seconds. This one firing once every 17.3. Well, it's close, but it's not identical. Rounds out, bit late. Yep, it was a bit late. He needed to fire just a fraction of a second before the shell, or a fraction of a second, but maybe about a second before the tank got to the point that he was aiming at. You have to judge how far the tank will travel within 1 second and then lead the target by that amount when it's doing that. Rounds out. Well, that was very close to where it was last seen. So he may have actually damaged it, and he did. He stunned it. Well, he stunned the Type 58. I'm not sure if he actually... No, I don't think he did any damage, actually, to the Type 58, but this time round, yes, he does. He gets a critical hit on the Type 58's tracks. Now, most battles on this map, when you're on this spawn, there's nearly always somebody comes up to this corner and you can lob the shells in, and that's a good one. Hits the ground next to the heavy tank number 6, and he's got 53 hit points from that and some stun assists. Now, the bad thing about this Arty is that you don't get much in the way of shells, only 26 in total, and that means it is possible to run out during a battle. You don't want to run out, but of course it does happen. The SU-8 is, of course, a fake Arty because it's what Wargaming believed the Soviets would have done if they'd actually still had T-28 hulls to use to make Arty. But in fact, actually, they discontinued and stopped using the T-28, and many of them were put into storage. But around about the time of Operation Barbarossa, when Germany invaded Russia in 1941, they did have a number of these tanks which they were able to take out of service as T-28s and actually use them. Unfortunately, none of them were converted into Arty though, and that Hellcat's asking for trouble. Rounds out. Yes! 244. I think that was a non-penetrating shot because, of course, remember this Arty's 550 alpha, so that will be about half of the alpha value. Okay, we're going to try and get this KV-1SA. Rounds out. Direct hit into his side for 194. That was a good shot. It tracked him. Stops him from being able to push our guy, but he just becomes a piece of metal that's blocking his path. Now we've lost all the tanks that are up there at the corner confronting our enemy, and the KV-1SA has gone down. Okay, Aerial 44, let it settle, let it dial in. A few seconds to go. Work out where he's going to be. Rounds out. Well, at least we saw there was an explosion, so he didn't hit the target, but he might have been close to it. The Type 58's come down from the west corner of the map, and he's now trying to get behind our KV-1. Okay, he's stopped to take a shot, makes him a perfect target, rounds out. Now, what happened to the shell there? Because he fired, but did the shell hit the target? No, it didn't. Not sure what happened there. But the Type 58 goes down to our BK-3001. Now, I suspect that the shell did actually fire, but it hit something on the way to the target, and it may have hit one of our teammates, and we didn't know about it because we were looking downrange at the time that happened. I will have a look into that later on and see if I can find out why that shell never got to the target. Okay, we've lost sight of the enemy on this side of the map. They still can see the enemy over on the other side. Now, I think he was guessing there where the ARL-44 might be. But he's now looking at the enemy tanks that are blocking our guys coming up from the peninsula. We've got a Chi-Nu blocking that path, and there is another tank, a Wizzy 131 GFT, just sitting on that corner. Okay, he's loaded. He was dialed in. He could have shot, but he's going to now. Rounds out. Oh, direct hit! And he actually got a kill! Oh my god! He hit the Striv, but he actually killed the Wizzy 131 GFT with a splash. He might have actually ended up with a bombardier if they'd both gone up. So he got a blind kill there of a tank he couldn't actually see at the time. That's very useful because that Wizzy 131 was blocking the path of some of our guys, but now he needs to deal with this ARL-44. He's almost ready to shoot. Just waiting for the reload. Rounds out. And it lands right next door to him for 146. We just need to get another round in there as quickly as we can. Can't get shots on the Chi-Nu. The ARL-44 is the best place to put the shells right now. Rounds out. Now, good hit. 228, but it actually hit the armor, so it didn't do any, didn't penetrate. One more shot should be enough to finish this guy off. Oh, and he's gone, which means now there are still 6 enemy tanks out there to kill. Now we can get a shell into that little spot. Rounds out. It stuns the Striv M42, who's sitting on the corner right where that Wizzy 131 GFT was when he got hit. In fact, I think he's using the wreck as cover from our teammates. But our Basotto's coming up behind him and he's about to find that out. Oh, he hit the wreck! But the splash from the shell actually damaged the Striv M42. He direct hitted on the, you can see it now. He hit the Wizzy 131. And yes, the shell made a twang. Again, he lobs another one in, but unfortunately that one wasn't fully dialed in. And we now see where the enemy Arty is. He's in that corner. We just saw the tracer coming out from that corner. At least one of them's in there. In the meantime, this heavy tank number 6 doesn't seem to know what he's doing. He's facing off against our VK. We're dialing in and rounds out. Better. Oh! That was very definitely a kill because it went straight into his face. And now both enemy Arties have been spotted in that corner. There goes the AMX-13 F3. Now it's just the Fifi left. We're loaded. Rounds out. And he pulls forward because he knows the shell's on the way in. He pulls forward as quickly as he can. But he knows he's vulnerable, so we're just... If we mark the ground here with the T key, that would tell us where he was last seen, but instead he pulls back because of the M10 RBFM. Oh, he was lucky that the M10 pulled back just as he fired, and he drove forward to get out of the way of the shell, but he drove backwards right into the way of the shell, and he got another 48 hit points from that and 129 from Splash. Round out on the Arty. Didn't get it that time. It's just the Fifi left, and there he is. He has been damaged. We're waiting for one more shell to come in, but it'll be the last shell we ever get to shoot. Rounds out. And I'm sure our teammates are now going to finish this guy off before we can reload. They're playing with him at the moment. It's almost like they're letting Red Dog Alpha 1 get another shot. Rounds out. This time he should get it. And he does. Here's the end of battle results of the second battle, and that was a first-class tanker for Red Dog Alpha 1 in the SU-8. It seemed a much more exciting battle than the one with the M44. I would have thought that would have been an ace tanker as well, but it wasn't. He did get a Bruce medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 12, and he got a Confederate from this one as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team, and that's despite the fact that he got 3 kills in that game. His win rate was much higher, 2,861. I think that reflects the amount of damage he was doing to the enemy and how effective he was. Let's have a look at team score and see where he was. Well, he did get the highest damage in the game in that one. 1,600 hit points. Wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool, so he didn't get a high caliber, but he did get a Confederate. Second highest damage went to the enemy Fifi with 1,518 hit points. And the third highest damage went to the VK3001H, who managed 1,277 hit points. When it came to kills, he shared it with the box tank on his own team. They both managed to get 3 kills apiece. 2 kills went to the Panzer IV Aslains H on his own team, the KV2 and the KV1. And on the enemy team, 3 tanks managed to get 2 kills. The ARL-44, the M10 RBFM, and their AMX-13 F3AM. When it came to Base XP, yes, he's got that one as well. So he did get the top in all 3 columns on this game. 814 base went to Red Dog Alpha 1, 658 went to the VK3001H, and 632 went to the Panzer IV Aslains H. In fact, we have to help that, or thank that guy, because he actually played around with that Fifi at the end. He wouldn't let the lefty pull forward to actually get a shot. And so he just basically held him in place and waited for the Arty to finish the job. And of course, Red Dog Alpha 1 was very pleased to do that and pick up another kill. Red Dog Alpha 1 fired 23 rounds in that game. He got 6 direct hits on the enemy and 17, no penetrations, but 17 splash. Damage of 1,600 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 9 of the enemy, killed 3, so there's the Confederate. And 216 hit points of damage assistance, plus 548 hit points of stun assist of 13 stuns. So I guess the reason he didn't get an ace tanker is that he just didn't get enough stun assist out of that game. He earned 37,262 credits on a premium count for the battle, and after ammunition resupply took away 18,632 credits profit. 1,221 base XP for the game, or it's not base XP, but that's base XP. 1,221 experience points for the game, and there was no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. But you can see the difference between these 2 battles. On the first hand, we've got the ace tanker in the M44, and you can see that he got a win rate, which was reasonably high, got exactly the same medals. He didn't do a huge amount of damage. we see here, it's 1,281, but it was a solid battle. If we then go to the SU-8 battle, much higher on the win 8, and we can see that, yes, he finally does crack that 1,600 mark and get the highest damage in the game, much more damage than the previous battle, and he got 3 kills, but it's no ace tanker, and the reason for that is lots of players are now playing the SU-8 because they don't like the M44 anymore. They play the SU-8, and it means the standard to get an ace tanker in the SU-8 is much higher. You have to get a much better performance, plus of course your shell reload rate, your DPM, is much higher in the SU-8 than it is in the M44, so obviously you're expected to get more damage per battle in order to get a higher award. So that's the reason why it's more difficult to get an ace tanker in the SU-8 now than it is in the M44, and it's why it's easier to get an ace tanker in the M44 if you're a novice player, because of course not many people play it, because it's been completely nerfed to hell by Wargaming. Big mistake by them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed both those replays. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.